I'm just going to put quite a lot of brown into the palette. The brown is going to be the base color for throughout our painting. So I'm putting generous amount of brown. And then I'm going to rinse and clean my brush. Next, I'm going to pick some red from this palette here. I'm not going to mix it yet. I'm just going to put it in the same palette as the brown. Look at the brown to red ratio that we currently have. Okay, painters, this is how we're going to mix the skin color. We've got brown and red. So I'm just going to show you the brown. This is just straight pigment. I've reactivated the pigment using a few drops of water. So this is your brown. When you're doing skin color mixture, it takes a bit of tweaking. Oh, sorry, I should have shown you the red. Hang on, let me just get the red. So then you add the red, all right? For the skin color we're doing with Koh-i-Noor, you'll be using mostly brown. So let's go mix the brown with this little bit of red and see how the chroma shifted. Not very obvious, so that means we're just going to add a bit more red. Just going to pick up some red and add it again. What we're doing here is making the main mixture that you will later take bits out from and create new mixes. So we want a generous amount of this because you don't want to run out midway. All right, so that's a good chroma shift. Now we're going to add some warmth to this. I mean some brightness. So we're going to use some orange, not too much. So we do like that. So I'm just going to take the orange now, just to show you how bright the orange is. We're using the Koh-i-Noor 12 color palette. It's a very good set of palettes that will teach you a lot about color mixing. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so now it's that color. Now we're going to add teeny tiny bit of light blue first. We're going to cool this down and then tweak it again. So light blue is 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. That's, I'm just going to show you the light blue straight off the palette. Ooh, that's very dark. It's hard to see this one. Just going to take some paint out. So that's the light blue. And as you can see, it's very intense. So you don't need very much of light blue at all. So just like that, and then assess. When you're mixing your paint and you're watching my tutorial, I try to describe the consistency using the tea analogy. That is really dark coffee. Oh, tea and coffee analogy. All right, so now that we're adding a bit of blue, you see the shift in the chroma? Now it becomes cooler, and that's all you need, just a teeny tiny bit of blue. And then we're going to add some yellow to bring a bit more warmth. and see what happens. Maybe let's just use one. And then we'll mix it again. So what you're trying to achieve is, based on the subject of our reference image, you want kind of pinkish beige base. So that's with a tiny bit of yellow. Now we're going to add, I think, a bit more red to give it a bit more pink. Let's get some more red. Remember to activate your paint by putting a drop of water. So don't try to grab the paint with your dry or with your wet brush, because you won't pick up enough pigment. Just gonna mix it up. We're gonna add it, going to tweak this little by little. Now I've added a bit more red. That's a bit warmer, but I think we still need a tiny bit more red. Just a tiny bit. Now I'm going to see how it looks when it's quite diluted. So what I'll do is I'm gonna pre-wet this section here. All right, then I'm just gonna tap my brush so it like not sopping wet, and then I'm going to just use the tip of the brush and then kind of do that to see what it looks like if this was our first layer. It's still there's not enough red in there. So in that case, I will get a little bit more red and then add more and then mix. All right, then I'm gonna rinse the brush. Gonna pre-wet again. And then pick a tiny bit. That's getting better. That's more like the base of skin that we want. So what I'm going to do now is, just to be sure this is going to be the right color mixture, I'm just going to pre-wet again, but this time I'm just going to dip the tip, and then I'm going to dab it on the, you see the paper towel, just going to take quite a bit off, and whatever's left on the brush, I just want to see how this looks really, really diluted. You see? There's the light reflection, which is a bit distracting. But can you see the color temperature for the skin? Just by controlling the amount of water, you will get this look and that look. Quite different. And then when you layer this up, you'll eventually get like a more saturated look. So that is the color that we want to try to aim for. Now, if you look at the start of our mixes, this is the the still wet. Okay, this is the brown, this one, and then you add red, right? And then you get this. After this, you add, but we're adding more red because it's not red enough. So then we add, how do I write this? Plus, double plus, more red on this one. So then you get this one, right? This is the stage you need to be with your color mixture. Circle this. We want this as our first stage of mix before we tweak it. All right, I'm just gonna write number 1 like that, and then you add some orange. Some orange here. When you add the orange, just a tiny bit, you will get this one. This is the second stage of your mix. Once you get this, add this one, blue, light blue, which will get you to this one. That's number 3. And then you're going to add some yellow. That will get you this one. Add some yellow, and then it will get you this one. Okay. This one is a good start, but you need a bit more red because we're trying to get that pinkish color. So you can tweak again and add tiny bit of red. And then it will get you this one. That's number 5. Before we reach mixture 5, we did a test on mixture 4 up here, which turned out to look quite orange. We tweak this again by adding a little bit more red. So I'm going to write red here and 2 orange. All right. So we added some red, and then you get this one. This is diluted. This is our mix, so I'm just going to asterisk this. Our mix, our base mix, okay? This is diluted, and this is more diluted base mix. So this is what we're going to use for our first layer. All right, so this is the skin, how to mix your base skin color. Now look at the comparison. This is the heavily diluted, and this is what it looks like in your palette. See, you can't really tell from here that it will look like that. So you always need to go back and forth, swatch, do like little dabs, and then like put some water and try to spread it out, and so you can really assess how the color is looking. Now, in watercolor, you don't need too much. You don't need a lot. You don't need to fill up this palette to make a portrait as for this size. This can go a long way because we're going to be mixing this, tweaking it to create shades for shadows, definition, the hair, and all that stuff. So let's get into the color mixing for those areas. This is just a general guide, so you know what to look out for when you're mixing. So this one is our base skin color. Remember that? Here I've got another palette that I will put the additional paint, colors of paint that we will use along the way. So first, purple, this one. So let's get that color. Color 5. Purple is very, very staining, right? So that's our purple. And then we need not the light blue, just the normal blue, which is this one, number 3. That is our normal blue. If you can see, looks very similar to purple at this stage, but it's not. I'll show you. This is the blue, right? Then we will add dark green. The dark green has a blue tinge to it. This will be good for cooling our mixes down. This is the dark green. The last addition will be the light green, which is the warm tone of the green here. All right. These 4 colors we will be using to tweak our mixes to create different colors for different areas in our painting. Because we're using the same base, our painting will look cohesive. When we're doing this painting, we want to use a few palettes. We just want to have space for creating all of our mixes. So I think I'll start by showing you how to tweak the skin as a base for everything else. I'll be going back and forth demonstrating the mixtures. Oops. What it looks like on the book. After the first layer, we did the hair, which had like a soft green tone to it. For that, what we'll do is take, with your moist brush, just take a bit of the brown and then just put like a drop there, and then put, if you just push your brush on the edge here, it will kind of squeeze the paint back into the palette so you're not wasting too much. Then you rinse. Then you pick up your, I don't remember what I used. Just pick up some of this light green, right? And then kind of mix it. So this green that we're using is going to be the base tone of the hair. Let's see how this looks. The hair. Layer 1. Let's see. That's perfect. That's what we want. Okay. This makes when you put down for the hair, you will be diluting it. Just gonna just with 1 drop is enough to get a feel for the green. See how soft and bright. This will be the base tone for our highlights of the hair. All right, that's the green mix, which comes from, let's abbreviate this mixture so we don't have to call it with a long name. Let's go to base skin mix. What do you think? BSM. So this one is BSM plus light green. Okay, and then this is just diluted, this one. So if you look here, brown is in this area here. To make it darker, you'll need to use some of these. Oh, you need to use one of these, not some. One of these for starters. So let's go for the, because our color is kind of between here, red and orange-ish. Let's do the base skin color, BSM. Just take a bit out here. And then add some purple. Let's do a bit of purple. The purple is very staining, so you only need, just to test this, teeny tiny drop. And then you mix. So this, because purple is blue and red, it will give the skin tone, will cool it down a little bit, right? So this is the purple. Go wash down here of the skin color so we can see how it compares. All right, so I'm just gonna do like a really light wash like that. That might even be too intense. I'm gonna dilute it a bit more. Diluting it some more. Because that is roughly what your first layer will look like. All right, very, very soft. This one is, let's go for the skin for now. Skin BSM plus purple will get you this. Remember the ratio, very tiny bit of purple. So let's do, just remember, that's the purple. So I'm going to do the base skin mixture again here. And this time we're gonna add some of the blue, which is this one. Again, very staining. Just add a tiny bit. You see? Tiny. Not too much. We'll mix that. I could have probably used a bit more of the base skin, but that's okay. And then this is, you see the difference in color temperature? That's with a bit of blue. It has that gray, cool quality about it. This one is plus blue. Get a bit more of the BSM. I'm gonna drop it here This time I'll be a bit more generous because that one was not enough to show you. The next we're gonna do is this dark green. Very staining again. Tiny. That's it. That's all you need. Every time I've dropped a new color in, I rinse the brush and then dab it like this to take away most of the wet. And then you mix. Now this dark green has a lot of blue in it. And you will notice the tone is like this. So it has a little bit of warmth, but not quite orange kind of warmth. Okay, so we have 3 shades here. This one is with dark blue. Oh, sorry, dark green. BSM light green is this one. Yeah, we've done BSM purple, blue, and dark green. So these will be our starter initial mixes. As we progress, we will be adding more of these pigments depending on what area we're painting. At one point we'll be doing quite a kind of purpley, kind of rich wine color, which will be based on this. See, do you notice the temperature, the color temperature, the difference in the color temperature? Skin base, these are all the shades that we're going to be starting with our initial layers. I guess when you're trying to create a kind of grayish wash, you will be adding blue to your base color. If you add purple, it will give you that warmth. And if you add dark green, it will give you that gray wash, but quite intense. It's not very subtle with this dark green. So throughout the tutorial, you'll be practicing tweaking your mixes and getting a feel for how your mixes look on the portrait. All right, this will be an interesting experience and experimentations. I hope this information is useful to get you started on creating the BSM base skin mix. All right, I will see you at the portrait painting tutorial. See you there. Sorry, one more thing. Consistencies. Yeah, let's talk about that. These, I refer to them as straight pigment, which essentially means you get your palette, drop like 1 drop or 2 drops, you pick it up, you put it down on the palette. That's straight pigment. Now this, what I would call like coffee consistency, right? Now this is light tea consistency. So anything, I'll try to describe it as accurately as possible. So anything between this and this, I'll call it medium consistency. But it's not an exact thing anyway, because you can always adjust your water level and then mop some up or add some more. You know, it's all very organic. with your brush, you can put pigment down, you can put water down, you can even absorb some pigment up and some water. Use this essentially as a mop if you want to spread things around or clean things up, lift some colors up. The brush you will use can do many things, not just for laying down colors. Let's get started.